Hi everyone, it's Nicole Spohr here today, sharing a card with new Hero Arts 2020 catalog products. Everything on this card is brand new. That's the dies, background, and sentiments. I also, on my blog post, which I will link below the video here, have some more cards that I created with brand new products. There's just not a video for those, but do check those out on my blog. We're going to be coloring in die cuts with Copic markers today, which is one of my favorite things to do to add custom color and that depth and dimension that we all love. These are the Watering Can and Flowers Fancy Dies. Probably one of my favorite products from the release. It's really hard to pick. There are so many good products, but I really love these dies. I think they're just, the size is incredible and really, really pretty. The tulips are gorgeous. Probably because it's so stinking cold here in Kansas where I live in the Midwest, and it's just been really bitter cold this week, and so I'm longing for spring and tulips and flowers and green grass and leaves on the trees. So if it's cold where you are, hopefully this will bring a little bit of that spring sunshine to you as well. So I am coloring in my watering can with some blue Copic markers. I have listed those colors across the bottom of the screen. That is B00, 02, 05, and B16. And I have mentioned this before, but I want to mention it again in this video. I tend to err on the side of caution when coloring, so I'll start really light and I gradually darken and deepen that color. So there's probably not a ton of B00 there, but because it's B00, those zeros indicate there is a lot of colorless blender in there, meaning when I go back over the watering can with that marker, it's going to kind of move the ink away. The blender is not a blender. If you don't have a ton of practice with Copic markers or you haven't heard of them or you're new, it's more to remove color as opposed to a traditional blender. The name is a little bit misleading. So it's fantastic. If you want to make light spaces or make highlights, it's great for that. And in this case, I did use a little colorless blender, but really that B00 is going to work great. And I kind of, especially down the left side of the watering can, used a lot of that to lighten it, almost like that's where the light's hitting it. And so it's reflecting away, and the sides and the handle and things are darker. Now, I am going to take some markers in cool gray and color in like the rivet there that's holding the handle onto the watering can. And then where the water comes out of the spout, I'm also going to use some cool grays there. This is the colorless blender that I'm just adding some little droplets, almost like some little oxidized spots on the watering can, if you will. I don't want it to look super perfect. So that's what I was doing here, just adding or moving some of that color away. Then the cool grays there. And now the color for the leaves and tulips. In this watering can set, there are 2 leaves and 2 tulips. I die cut many, and I'm going to color up a bunch of these. The colors for stems and leaves are YG 11, 13, and 17. And then my pink color combination is RV 10, 13, and 14. The yellow tulip combination is Y15 and 17. I really wanted 3 colors, and so I am going to add in kind of a peachy red color combination. That's my favorite here in a minute. But I like to kind of just start out, see how many I'm going to need. I played around with these quite a bit. There's going to be multiples, but they're all going to use these color combinations. So that pink color combination, the yellow color combination, and then the red color combination. And that red color combination is going to be our 30, 32, and 35. And we'll get there here in just a minute. I was coloring multiples of my pink tulips before I move on to that last color combination. I was really kind of contemplating what color combination do I want to use. Do I want to do oranges? Do I want to do purple? And ultimately, I decided to stick with the reds, and I'm kind of glad I did. I like how the color combinations turned out. But you could definitely do all of one color, do multiples like I did here. So many things you can do. I love these leaves though. They're so realistic. 2 tulips, so, so pretty. So here is that R30, 32, and 35, as well as YG11, 13, and 17 for my stems and additional leaves. And I'm simply going to keep coloring until I get plenty. I wanted my watering can to be really full of flowers, plus I wanted to have a couple lying on the ground down near the base of the watering can, almost as a natural place for that watering can to sit. And you'll see what I mean when I create the background for my card. I wanted to add interest to my background, but I want it to be super, super subtle. And we'll get to that here in just a second, because that's going to include another new stamp that, while I used as a background today and it's subtle, you can also color that in, use the peekaboo dies that Hero Arts has with that, and have little windows. So awesome. This is the Greenhouse Peekaboo Cling. And obviously it's going to work really great with a watering can image and tulips. I have pre-cut my panel for the front of my card to 4 1/4 by 5.5 inches. And this cling is sized to fit the front of an A2 sized card base, so the card panel I just trimmed. I am going to stamp then this greenhouse image with the Hero Arts embossing and watermark ink and heat emboss with white embossing powder. So I'm doing this all in my MISTI so that I can stamp that image twice if I need to. I don't think I did here, but if I wanted to stamp it twice, I could definitely do that easily. I am going to sprinkle on the white fine detail Hero Arts embossing powder. And you can see the detail in this image is amazing. These peekaboo clings from Hero Arts are just so much fun. And they have come out with a bunch of new options. There's some clear stamp options, and then the cling options for creating the peekaboo window dies. So if you are into the interactive window type of dies from Hero Arts, which I have created quite a lot of those in the past, plus over on my blog, I have one of the other new stamps where I created one of those interactive cards. You'll have to check that out, but they are really fun and addictive to do. Now that I have added my embossing powder, I am going to add a little bit of ink, but not go all the way out to the edge of the panel. I want it to kind of have that vignette kind of, or that where it's just focusing in on the watering can, I guess I want to say. So it's going to be dark in the center and then lighter out near the edge, and I'm not going to ink all the way to the edge of the panel. So with that, I am using the Hero Hues Green Apple Reactive ink in the center, and then the Key Lime Fizz Reactive ink around the edges. Reactive ink means it's going to react with water, very much like an oxide ink. So if you want to spritz this with water for some distressing, it's going to wick away and leave you with some awesome water droplets. I did not do that today, but you definitely could. These inks are phenomenal. Some of my favorite. I have used these a lot in many, many videos. So definitely check that out if you want to, because really fantastic inks in bright colors, which I'm all about color. I love that. So I love how it gets soft near the edge of the panel. And this is embossed resist. So I want to take a dry rag or a paper towel, and I want to wipe away that excess ink before I start building my scene on the card. So anything sitting on top of the embossed areas we want to wipe away. And I'd like to just use a microfiber cloth that is clean and dry, and I kept moving the corner I was using so I wouldn't smear ink out to the edge of the panel. We're ready to start building our card now. So I've got watering can and my tulips and leaves, and I'm going to lay those out before I stamp my sentiments. And this is the kind of card that I love. Something you could use any sentiment. This could be birthday, anniversary, thinking of you, sympathy, Easter, whatever you want to use this for, you could. So everything up to this point is very, very versatile. I opted to do a Get Better Soon type of card using some sentiments from the new Hero Florals Lavender Bunch mini stamp set. There's coordinating dies, I believe, that come with, that you can purchase with this if you want to, but these would also be phenomenal colored. I would especially love to see these in no line coloring tucked into that watering can for another completely different option. And of course there's a little bee, which is cute. I'm using the two phrases, sending healing thoughts and then to a dear friend. Also in this stamp set in particular, there's hey there, happy anniversary, thank you, best wishes, hello. So you can mix and match to create lots of different sentiments on lots of different cards. And don't forget that there are many other sentiment stamp sets you can use with this. Anything goes. You could really, the sky's the limit, and I love that. So I stamped my two phrases on Hero Hues Pitch Black cardstock with the embossing and watermark ink. I've heat embossed with white embossing powder. I did use a powder tool prior to stamping that, so I need to buff away once the embossing powder is cooled. You don't want to do it when it's still hot from embossing, but let's buff away any of that remaining powder and then trim those into thin strips that we can use and adhere to our card. I used a paper trimmer to trim those down, and then I'm using my scissors to shorten the strips and some foam adhesive to pop those up along the bottom edge of my card panel. And I started at the bottom and worked my way up. And this is part of the reason I waited until I had all my elements to start gluing everything in place. That's because I want to make sure that everything is kind of exactly where I want it to go. I don't want to start up too high or anything like that. I have adhered my sentiments, and so now I am ready to start adhering my watering can and tulips. And I didn't take the glue all the way to the top of the watering can because I need to be able to tuck some of those down inside. And then I'm simply just going to start adhering all of my images. So I've got my tulips down near the base, a leaf as well, and then we'll just start with the rest of our cute little tulips here and leaves until we get it exactly the way we want it to look. Such a pretty image. I just really, really like this watering can. I think it's super fun. You guys know how much I love die cuts and finding fun ways to create cards with them. Once I have this, the last thing I'm going to do is adhere this panel to a white top fold card base. And then I thought it would be fun to have some little dewdrops scattered throughout. So I'm going to take some Nuvo Crystal Drops in Morning Dew and add droplets. You could also use clear droplets or sequins, or simply not add anything at all. I mean, it's whatever you feel like doing there is perfectly fine. And I'm going to let those completely sit and dry for a good 24 hours before I try to mail my card. And this Coloring Die Cuts with Copic Markers card featuring new stamps and dies from the Hero Arts 2020 catalog release is all finished. Thank you guys so much for joining me today for this card featuring new stamps and dies from Hero Arts. The supplies I used to create my card are listed and linked below the video here on YouTube. Here are a couple more videos featuring Hero Arts stamps and dies that you might be interested in. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell to never miss a new card making video. Thank you so much for joining me today. I am so glad you're here, and we'll catch you next time.